Honorable DCM Dr. Hinad Handu, great Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, who absolutely enlightened all of us with his eloquent speech, Delegate Dr. J. Jalisi, our very popular Minister Community Affairs, Mr. N.K. Mishra, Dr. D.P. Singh, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Frank Islam, is a well-known entrepreneur, philanthropist, civic leader, writer, and author who heads Frank Investment Group with a special commitment to civic, educational, and artistic causes. Mr. Islam is on board of so many renowned institutions. If I list them, you will never get dinner tonight, including Kennedy Center and the Institute of Peace. Mr. Islam is leaving for our motherland, India, next week, to be exact, February 7th, where the iconic Aligarh Muslim University's Department of Business Management will be named after him and his charming wife, Debbie Dreisman. Please join me in congratulating both Mr. and Mrs. Frank Islam on this unique achievement. During his visit, he also will be speaking in Dubai, Singapore, in many universities in India. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Frank Islam, a very good friend of NCAIA and a supporter of many Indo-American causes. Mr. Frank Islam.
Thank you, D.P. Singh. I saw somewhere. Thanks for coming here. And thank you, Delegate Jalisi, for here. And thank you, DCM. I hope your husband is doing very well back in Sri Lanka, right? It's a lot more warmer there than here, right? So, thank you, Dr. Bonnet, for your fine introduction. I know I want him to be there everywhere when I go to India for my introduction, because I think he will do a great job. And he's a great person. I admire and appreciate what he does, not only for our community, for our country. So let's give him a big round of applause. So I want to thank the members of the NCAIA for your warm welcome. I applaud the leadership of the NCAIA for all of the terrific work you're doing. You are the voice of the Indian American community. It is indeed an honor to be asked to speak at this Republic Day celebration dinner. I have been asked to recognize our Indian American elected officials, and I will do so. I also want to use my remarks to recognize the supporters of those officials and to talk about the critical importance of our civic and political engagement in the 21st century. As most of you know, in the 2016 and the past few years, since the emergence of the Tea Party movement around 2010, there has been a strong and political trend in America. Polls after poll have shown that elected officials, especially in the United States Congress, are held in very low regard, except Indian American Krishnamurthy. One of the reasons that this president got his party's nomination and won the general election is that he purported to be an outsider running against a political insider, Hillary Clinton. I don't think it is an overstatement that many citizens are alienated from and angry at the political process and politicians. I do understand their frustration and discontent, but I believe their hostility is misplaced. I know many politicians and most of elected officials here this evening. In my opinion, the vast majority are extremely hardworking and dedicated public servants. My perspective on politicians aligned with that Robert F. Kennedy and Theodore Roosevelt. Robert F. Kennedy saw politics as an honorable profession, and he said, and I quote, "An honorable profession calls forth the chance for responsibility and the opportunity for achievement. Against these measures, politics is a truly exciting adventure." End of quote. The adventure is not always easy or a joy. However, it frequently involves turmoil and toil and requires a tenacity that few are able to summon. That is why I agree so wholeheartedly with Teddy Roosevelt, who said, and I quote, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how a strong man stumbles, or where the doer of the deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by the dust and sweat and blood, who comes up short again and again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly." End of quotation. With that said, let me begin saluting the Indian Americans who were elected to the national office in 2016 by saying, "Thanks for being in the arena." And thanks for all of you do and will do in the office. It matters so much more than the constant criticism and the carping from the sidelines of the grandstand that does nothing to make this country a better place. 2016 truly was a miracle year for our Indian American community. We made numerous strides in politics. Despite the outcome of the presidential election, however, November 2016 election brought great joy for me because of substantial gains made by Indian American candidates in the congressional election. In the course of one election cycle, we saw our community's representation increase by 500%. Can you believe that? For the first time, we have an Indian American senator in Senator Kamala Harris from California. Senator Harris is a rising star in American politics. She is the real talent. I'm certain that you agree with me that she will scale many more heights now that she is on the national stage. We also saw Representative Amy Barra, who's a dear friend from California, returning to Washington, along with 3 new members, Ro Khanna from California, Washington State's Pramila Jayapal, and Illinois' Raja Krishnamurthy. It was a proud moment for all of us when these fantastic 5 individuals were sworn in as the members of the U.S. Congress less than 3 weeks ago. What it means that we finally have several seats at the table. Ladies and gentlemen, the size of our congressional delegation increased 5-fold overnight, but our success did not come overnight. It is the culmination of years of hard work by tens of thousands of people like you who realize the importance of political participation beginning at the grassroots level. So these are 5 elected officials at the national levels in 2016. Let us hear a big round of applause for all of them. Let me briefly say to all of you in this audience, I know that you understand the importance of political engagement, and that is why you're here. And I realize that in a way that I am preaching to the choir. But in these times in which the younger generation is becoming cynical and skeptical about such involvement, let me say a few more things about them, why they need to be politically engaged. It is important for all of us to be politically engaged, not only as Indian Americans, but also as responsible citizens of this great nation. Political engagement is just one form of civic engagement that we should invest ourselves to make our society and the nation a better place. Political engagement is especially important because it can provide the lever for progress in other forms of engagement. President John F. Kennedy said, and I quote, "In a democracy, every citizen, regardless of interest in politics, holds office. Every one of us in a position of responsibility. In the final analysis, the kind of government we get depends how we fulfill those responsibilities." President Dwight Eisenhower put it this way, and I quote, "Politics ought to be a part-time profession of every citizen who would protect the rights and the privileges of free people and preserve what is good and fruitful in our national heritage." End of quotation. So that's a Democrat president and a Republican president speaking. While political engagement can be partisan in nature, the act of political engagement itself is a bipartisan. As I conclude, let me highlight why it is more important ever for all of us to stay politically engaged and to take our political participation and activism to the next level. The reason is simple and straightforward. And I must add, it is shocking because support for the approval of the democratic political process among the youth in the United States, in the democracies around the world, is in a dramatic decline. That is what a researcher from Harvard and a researcher from the University of Melbourne report in an article of the January edition of the Journal of Democracy. These researchers found that the attitudes among the youth in stable democracies such as the United States, Great Britain, Sweden, Australia, and New Zealand are becoming increasingly negative. The researchers' specific findings regarding the United States include the following. More than a quarter of the United States young dismiss the importance of free elections to a democracy. Only around a third of the youth see civil rights as absolutely essential in a democracy. 75% of the people born in the 1930s felt it was essential to live in a democracy. By the 1990s, only slightly over 25% of those born in that time period felt the same way. As Bob Dylan put it, the times, they are a-changing. And in terms of support for democracy among youth here in the United States, they are not changing for the better. As Indian Americans, it's Indian Americans who understand the unique benefits and opportunities that come from living and striving in this representative democracy. I believe it is incumbent upon all of us to step forward and to work with our elected officials to connect, to crack this situation. There's no single solution, but I would suggest that we begin by preparing the next generation of Indian American youth to be civic leaders and exemplars in the 21st century. And this preparation can be done in our homes, in the schools our children attend, and also in the collaboration with our places of ownership. We can start there and then extend our influence to impact the educational system in the state, local, and national levels. We need to collaborate with elected officials to help develop a change agenda that creates the true patriot. The true patriots are citizens who realize that along with rights comes a responsibility. And our key responsibility as a citizen in a democracy is to participate. On January 20th, 1961, in his inaugural address, President Kennedy said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." Those of us in this room at this Republic Day celebration, elected officials, members of the NCAIA, Indian Americans, and fellow citizens have asked that question and answered it in our own way. The United States of America, this republic, needs to do more. The stage is ours, the time is now, the future is in our hand. That is why, as we gather at this Indian Republic Day dinner to celebrate the results of 2016, I ask that we join together to declare that we have only just begun. Let me leave you with final thought. It is our responsibility to continue to fight for a fairer, stronger, just, and tolerant America. We need to step up, and speak out if our core values are threatened, including human rights, civil rights, women's rights, and minority rights. We need to all stand together, and together we can help shape a better future. We need to keep fighting the good fight. As Hillary Clinton reminded us, do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, and all the times you can, and to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. Let me say a few words on Trump's ban on refugees and immigrants from certain countries. This ban is shameful, wrong, divisive, immoral, and unconstitutional. This is a fear-mongering. We have entered into dark and a dangerous chapter in America. It is not who we are. This is against the conscience and the character of our country. I'm reminded by the words of President John F. Kennedy, a Roman Catholic, spoke in November 1963, just before his assassination. And he said, "The family of man is not limited to a single race or religion, to a single city or a country. The family of man is near 3 billion strong. Most of its members are not white. Most of them are not Christian." President Kennedy went on to say, the members of this family should be peace with one another. I agree with President Kennedy, and I'm sure all of you do too. I look forward to an America that lives to its ideals of equality and justice. And thank you very much, and God bless you all.